world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Fidelity. Can I get a second opinion on stocks in the Fidelity app?
With Fidelity, it's easy to get an outside opinion from independent experts in a single score.
And then?
When you're ready, trade U.S. stocks and ETFs with no commissions.
That's right.
I am always right.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Online U.S. equity trades and ETFs and a retail Fidelity account. Sell order assessment fee not included. Some account types and securities excluded. Details at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back to Infinite Rabbit Hole. We have nothing to talk about, and this episode's going to suck.
All right.
We're happy you're here.
That's it.
That's it.
You did it.
Way to set the standard. So you guys listen to Patrick Bet-David at all?
No.
Nope.
I don't even know who that is.
Is that like a person? Never heard of her.
Yeah, it's a podcaster. Anyways, he had Terrence Howard on. You know who Terrence Howard is?
Nope.
Terrence Howard sounds familiar.
Like Terrence
He's
and
an
Phillip?
actor.
I know who Terrence and Phillip are.
Terrence Howard.
Yeah, Terrence Howard. He's an actor. He also is like a fucking genius, apparently, too. Right?
Oh.
And he...
Oh, that guy. Yeah. From the
Patrick
Marvel
Bet-David.
movies.
So that guy, right, not only is he, in the Marvel movies,
yeah, he's into like space and shit.
This guy's a fucking genius.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is all into like electro universe, plasma shit, like frequency resonance. You know, like he's deep, like PhD level deep. Okay, doesn't have a PhD, but is like on that level where he, you know, I've seen him on a couple of different podcasts now. He went on Joe Rogan. He's done a couple of these where he's like going deep down the rabbit hole talking about
I've seen him
stuff.
talking about general relativity and special relativity.
Right. And, you know, talks beyond what you or I or any of us could talk about. Like he's on another, you know, he's on that level of understanding on the math and all that shit.
You calling me stupid?
No, but like, let's be real, right? Like neither one of us could do the math. This guy's done the math, right?
I can do math.
Go ahead, do it.
No, I need a
1
pen.
+ 1 = 3 sometimes.
Do it right now. Do the math.
I'm gonna drink water.
There you go. So, but it's interesting to me because like the things that he's talking about are actually like electro universe shit, right? Electric universe shit. And it's interesting that it's reaching like these mainstream level channels now, because it was something that even in the fringe like conspiracy world that I exist in, right? Even in that world, electric universe shit was like fringe. Okay. And now you got this guy who's a fucking actor in these movies. Everybody recognizes his face,
Right.
but he's actually bringing out this information, this call it new physics, if you will, or corrected physics, right? Gravity's not the force. It's a, you know, like a an effect of another force, of an electric force type of physics. But that's super interesting. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that at all, or if that's boring to you. But
I mean, I don't understand it.
Definitely not boring. I just don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to that, because I haven't done any of the research on Electric Universe. That book's over here.
Which books you got?
I have
Thorn. Is it a Thorn?
Thornhill and Talbot.
Thornhill, Tolbert. Yeah.
Yep. It's a big book, so it's for
smart
people.
The one. It's got pictures in it.
They have that on audiobook.
I highly doubt that you would want to listen to this one on audiobook.
How do you know? Maybe I'm super intrigued.
Maybe, but
no. But you could find a YouTube channel that has a lot of that information broken down into some pretty good animated videos. Thunderbolts Project. If you go to Thunderbolts Project, they got.
I'm sure you could find some pretty good videos on this.
I'm pretty sure the Thunderbolt Project YouTube channel is one of those two guys, if I'm not mistaken.
Project Thunderbolts.
No, I don't have much on that. I really don't. I've always been intrigued by the electric universe theory, or hypothesis. It's not necessarily even a theory yet. I think it's, and again, I don't know a lot of the ins and outs of it, but just off the surface, I know that the general argument behind it is that electricity has a lot more to play in the general build of the world that we live in, or the realm that we live in, right? And that everything in our understanding of physics works around concept based off of electricity. Other than that, I don't really know too much about it yet. I bought this book back in the very first year of the Infinite Rabbit Hole, back when we formed the Void Podcast Network with CJ and Phil, and the first topic we were supposed to cover was the electric universe. So I bought the book. Never read the book because we never planned it. So yeah, it's just been sitting here doing nothing. So eventually I will do that. So I don't really have a leg to stand on when, I can't talk about it, man. I mean, we can talk about general relativity and special relativity and how that applies to light, but I can't really tell you anything about electric universe.
Well, I'll give you like my macro perspective on not the electric universe thing, but what I've been noticing lately is that I'm seeing a lot of the things that we have considered fact, truth, whatever you want to call it, those things are starting to shift, right? So
chemtrails.
Well, okay, that's a good example, right? I don't even want to get into that right now. We can talk about that later, but because I don't want to lose my train of thought here. But like what I was saying, where like Terrence Howard, and I don't know if everything Terrence Howard is saying is correct for the people who do know what he's talking about, who have listened to these shows. But what I do think is fascinating is that these ideas are like reaching mainstream platforms. Joe Rogan, Patrick Bet-David, like these super big shows. So there's millions and millions of people who are now being presented with a question of, is gravity not what we're told, right? And, I'm always the one on this show that's like speaking hyperbolically, saying, hey, gravity's fake and gay, right? But we all know that I'm just kind of joking around and just, kind of playing a character, right? But I do honestly believe that idea that gravity is not this main or major force that is creating or has created the universe. Like, it's an effect of another force. It's like a draft through the ether. The gravitational effects are just effects of another force that we just don't quite understand. And it's some plasmitic electric force. Again, that's not the point. The point is the information, the question is now being presented to the masses. Is gravity what they're telling us? Is dark matter what they're telling us? Is the universe as a whole, is our reality as they've been telling us? And I've noticed this shift also happening in things like, in like the financial market stuff, right? Being into crypto and all this kind of thing, you see what's happening on a macro scale. They're starting to shift into cryptos, and they're starting to leverage Bitcoin on a nation state level and these types of things. So they're shifting the whole old financial system into this new system. They're talking about shifting old physics systems and science systems into these new systems, right? With resonance and all this other shit. It's just interesting to me that we've always talked about is a new age coming. All of the stuff is going to shift, and I'm like watching it in real time, and all these like macro situations, like the new thing is starting to creep in all of these sectors, right? And it's just crazy. Anyways, I just wanted to rant about
It's one
that.
big lie. It's a big distraction, and it's easy to distract people.
I don't know.
My 2 cents.
Well, you see it in the politics too, in the government and shit, right? Like, all of a sudden we know about all this waste and fraud, and we're shutting it down now, right? And it's like, you could say, it's like, oh, well, that's because Trump is doing this thing, or it's like, or Elon Musk and no, but it's not the point. The point is like the Great Reset is happening like in real time. In everything that you look at, you can see like the shift in how it's operating on a base level, right? Like, watch, I'm telling you, man, like keep an eye. Now that I'm saying this, you'll start to see over the next few years, like the whole financial system is like shifting, right? How we look at assets and what we consider liabilities versus asset, like all of that is shifting. Like there's so much that's happening. It's just crazy to me. Great Reset
not just that, but like from say the Christian worldview, there's a massive revival going on right now. It's quite attuned to the great revival that happened in the 60s, the spiritual awakening, people turning to Christ. I mean, it's like Iran is quickly becoming one of the biggest Christian nations in like, percent of the population type stuff, in a place where they'll burn you alive in a cage for being a Christian type stuff. But still, all over the United States, people are like, small time churches are baptizing thousands of people in a Sunday service type stuff, right? And so it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to look at it from like a larger scale than just like politically, there definitely seems to be sort of like, you could call it an awakening happening.
Yeah, something's going on, man. Yeah. And I'm not aware of all of the little sectors, right? Like I don't go to church, so I'm not aware of that thing. But like you saying that, I'm like, damn, if that's the case, like, you see what I mean? Like something's going on. Like we are definitely shifting into like this new era, this new age. Like I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're making it happen or if it's just like the natural state of things or whatever, but maybe the solar system is moving through the fucking galactic cloud that changes everything. Like I've heard all these types of crazy theories of like what's going on over the next 100 years, but I see it happening day to day, and it's pretty fucking crazy. All I'm thinking is like you just grab like a thing and latch onto it, right? Because like the shift from the old world to the new world is always crazy. And if you don't have like something that's going to anchor you through that shift, like you're going to get left behind. You know what I mean? Whether it's like your faith or, your Bitcoin, whatever the thing is that's going to like carry you into the new age, like it's going to be something.
Yeah.
Your AI agent, when they assign you one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, can you, Jeff, can you expand on the idea of synchronicities? Had something happen today, and I just want to know what it was.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but my understanding of a synchronicity would be like, could be a lot of things, but coincidences would be like synchronicities, right? Especially with numbers, right? Or like, let's say you're thinking about somebody and then the phone rings and it's them, right? To me, that's a synchronicity.
So I definitely had a synchronicity happening to me today. Yep. I was making my final batch of syrup. Already not feeling it because I did 100 gallons of sap processing the other day, and I'm just burnt out. And I was like, all right, this is my final one. And I was already just like, I don't really want to do this. And then suddenly a gust of wind came, knocked the chimney off the top of the evaporator, fell inside of the vat, and ruined 50 gallons of maple sap by completely filling it with soot and rust. And I'm just like, and that's it. That's a wrap. Crack a beer. Congratulations to a good syrup season, and dump it into the yard and call it a day.
Yeah, man.
I think you can look at that as a synchronicity. Yeah.
See, I'm in tune with the whole mumbo jumbo you guys talk about.
I mean, I don't really talk on the level of synchronicities, but yeah, that's a Jeff, that's a Phil and CJ kind of thing.
It's definitely, I don't know. I mean, like, I definitely believe that there's something there, right? Because like there is like deja vu, which is, I used to have this really intense deja vu, probably like almost 10 years ago. I remember when I was working at this sales place, and I don't know what the fuck it was about this place, and it, in particular, tzatziki sauce. The boss used to make food for everybody every day, right? It was only like 5 of us, but he would like make lunch for free for everybody.
That's
and
cool.
He loved making these fucking dank ass sandwiches. You'd always slather them in tzatziki sauce. And every time I took a bite of this sandwich with tzatziki sauce, I would have like mental shock and go into like this fucking super intense deja vu, and I would get nauseous and like have to go into the bathroom and like freak the fuck out for a second because like I think I'm dying or whatever is going on, you know what I mean? And like I still to this day have no idea what it is about it. I don't eat tzatziki sauce because I don't want that to happen. I don't know if it was like an allergic reaction in my brain or something, but like you know, like there's something in that deja vu experience that like definitely ties you through time or something, right? So like there's something there in that like woo synchronicity, like deja vu, you know, something's definitely going on there for sure.
I agree with that. Yeah, no, it's I've had some very intense deja vu experiences where it was just like, even like looking at a person, someone that I'm sure I've never seen before, but I'm like, that person is so familiar. And it's like, how could I possibly have met this person? I'm in a completely different city from where I live, or I'm across the state, or like, you know, driving cross country to like move from California to Wisconsin. I'm like, I know who this person is, like to the point where you almost want to walk up and be like, Dave, you know, type stuff, you know, because it's like, and be like, oh, how'd you know my name? And be like, I'm an alien. I'm from the future. You have to stop the mailman. He's coming. He's coming today. You got to stop him. Don't let him drop off the package. It's filled
You guys
right.
a little peek below the covers. I got 2 books. I got the Deja Vu Enigma and the Deja Vu Experiment. There's some deja vu coming.
I thought you were done with them things, and we're just doing interviews. What's up? Or is it going to be on the other thing?
It's gonna be on the other show.
Okay.
It's an interesting phenomenon that no one can figure out. Yeah, that's, you know, I think that's the case. I think there's just certain things that, you know, I've always said that I think when you have these altered states of consciousness, and deja vu, in my opinion, is just another altered state of consciousness, just no different than a near-death experience or a psychedelic experience, whatever. When you're in those, or a flow state, when you're in that, you know, there's something that's happening. There's like a veil that's lifted or a filter that's being removed. And that's how you're getting information. That's how you know, like weird, spooky shit happens in altered states of consciousness, right? So there's definitely something to that. It's real.
If I had to take a swing at what deja vu is without doing any research on it yet, my best guess with all the stuff that I have looked into before is that it is some way of us mending with one of the branches of reality that parallels us. So there was an interesting book that I just got done reading. I've been doing research into time travel lately, and there was a very intense question that was brought up by an author. The question was a question that was that's been asked multiple times, right? Multiple times. And it all revolves around the grandfather paradox. The grandfather paradox is, if you go back in time and you change something, the most common example of the grandfather paradox is you fuck your grandmother. Would you become your would you become your grandfather? But in the most basic of senses is, if you adjust something in the past, does it change the future?
So if Marty had actually let Lorraine get onto him.
Yes. and that's what the nod is in Back to the Future, right? It's a nod to the grandfather paradox. So the answer, with the best that we can think, right, with all the highest of the high CERN scientists, I know you guys love that, right, Jeff? With the evidence that we have, because we do believe that there are multiple universes now. This is something that's been really pushing forward lately, especially with the introduction of things like the Willow chip and some other things.
They always tell you there's a catch, a compromise, an asterisk. Terms apply. See store for details. May be less than advertised. May vary by mood. Probably. Sprite Zero Sugar? It's different. It's the lemon lime flavored refreshment you want with zero sugar. So, no fast voice? No caveats. Just refreshment. This is Sprite Zero Sugar. Obey your thirst.
Right?
Debatable.
If we were to send the Willow chip,
which is what?
We'll talk about, hold on, we'll come back to that in a second.
Debatable.
That's one of those traps that you said where I completely forget what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But if we send something or somebody into the past and they adjust the past in any which way, it will actually not do anything to the future or the present. The reason why is because when you send somebody to the past, you're not actually sending them to your past, you're sending them to a completely new timeline's past. A new timeline is created when you send them to a past. The time flow is one singular time flow. You cannot send somebody to the past in your own time flow. That is impossible. That can't happen. You can send them to the past in something that perfectly mirrors your time flow, but they can't go to yours. Meaning that if they go and let's say they step on the creature, in the sense of evolution, okay? If they step on the creature that crawls out of the ocean and becomes humans, and then humans never become a thing, our world stays the same. That world becomes different. The two worlds are branched, and they never merge back into one.
That's like on it's like that freaking in that Doctor Strange movie for Marvel, where she's explaining it, that each point you don't go back in time and then it just continues on. It splits off and creates a new reality from that point into a different direction.
Never seen that movie. I hate Marvel. But the concept is called the multiple worlds theory. And it's a very popular theory. And in a nutshell, right? I wish I could talk about it more, because I don't want to give it all away, because I put a lot of work and effort into the research, and I don't want to spill it all out. But
I mean, go ahead. I don't mean all that.
No, go ahead.
What's the Willow chip?
Okay, well, the Willow chip is a quantum chip, Google quantum chip, but it's not really. So don't worry fucking about it. All right,
it is a quantum chip.
It's a quantum chip. It's not.
It uses qubits. It uses qubits. It's a quantum chip. It's by definition a quantum chip.
I'm not gonna get
instead of using bits, it uses qubits.
Sure, but I guess what my issue with the Willow chip is that there was so much hype about it when there's really nothing to hype about it right now. Like, it's not an issue. Like, everybody's like, I heard of it first through like Bitcoin Twitter. Okay, everybody was like, oh my god, quantum computing, it's going to ruin the Bitcoin network. Bitcoin's going to zero. And then people immediately had to like come out and fucking step their foot down and be like, listen, this is not going to happen. Like, first of all, the technology is nowhere even near close to being like usable, like really usable. Okay. And then even if it was usable, Google would never ever release a quantum chip to the public or to anybody, because it would ruin everything. It would ruin all encryption. The stock market would collapse. You know, the fucking world's grids would all shut down because all encryption would be completely fucked. You know, so they're already working on like counter quantum tactics and stuff like this. But you know, it's a 50-year away problem.
They're looking at it in the most layman of sense. They're looking at it as thinking that a quantum chip is the same thing as a computer chip. It's not. Okay, it's like saying that you're going to take your car and use it on the ocean. You can't do that. Okay, yeah, a quantum chip is not used in the same sense as a standard computer chip. Okay, it's going to be used for quantum computing.
Y2K. This is what that's a good point.
Steve says he ordered his on Amazon since Google won't sell it to him.
It's like a Y2K hype thing. I'm not saying that quantum's not happening or whatever. Like, they're definitely using quantum computing in certain places and stuff. I'm not saying that that's not real. I'm just saying that like the hype in the public sphere about like, oh shit, here comes quantum, it's going to do all this and it's going to change all this. It's like, bro, that's like a 50 or 100 years away before we get to a point to where like it is not. It's detrimental.
It is not.
I guarantee it, man. Yeah, absolutely, bro.
It is a whiles away. It's not 50 or 100 years away, but it is a little whiles away before it becomes commercially used. That's true, but it's not going to be used. Okay, so they're definitely going to push it out, and they're going to claim quantum computing on things that aren't quantum computers. I don't know if you remember when the internet first came out on cell phones, right? What we had as the internet on cell phones didn't resemble the internet on a desktop computer. Okay, it was
a cellular network.
Yeah, it was shit, right?
Right.
Yeah,
that's I know what you mean.
They're gonna give you quantum computing, and it's gonna be crap.
Yeah, you're gonna get AI stuff, and they're gonna try to convince you that it was quantum.
Yeah, and it's gonna be the same thing as like what did they try to push out when they called it 5G networking? They called it like 5GT or something like that. What was that? Do you remember that? It was before 5G. It was right between 4G and 5G. They pushed out like this 5G extended
LTE, 4G LTE.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they claimed it was supposed to be something huge and whatnot, but it was shit. It was garbage. It's going to be the same thing. Okay, they're going to say that it's based off quantum computing technology, but it's not going to be. Okay, it's not. It's still going to use bits, and people are going to fucking pay a shit ton of money for it because they're going to use key terms like quantum computing, but nobody's going to understand the difference between a bit and a qubit, and they're going to pay a shit ton of fucking money for nothing.
This kind of makes me think about what I was talking about earlier, man, where I think that everything is shifting. You know, I actually really suggest that you, in particular, Jeremy, listen to this Terrence Howard guy and him talk about this stuff, his quote unquote discoveries, because some of it has to do with like literally the technologies that would be needed to create UAPs, right? So like there's a connection there too, where, you know, the physics being used in the geometry being used to create, you know, craft and these types of things. Like he goes into all of that, and it's like pretty interesting to think about. Like, you know, nobody wants to take him seriously in the science community, right? Because he's not like a tenured fucking degreed scientist, right? But he knows the shit, right? And he's got like equations and all the shit or whatever, right? I don't know. I'm just taking him for his word.
I would take somebody like that over a scientist any day.
Right.
And
well,
the
what
reason
I think
why
happened. Go ahead.
No, I
was just going to say, what I think happened is that he, on his own, figured out whatever the thing is that the deep state or whatever had figured out that gives them access to like free energy or whatever the energy source is for the UAPs, along with the geometry to be able to create like, you know, synthetic metals to create these craft that are, you know, multi, or what do you call it, where they can go through water and air and whatever, you know, like
all domain vehicles.
Right. These higher sciences that would be needed to create these UFOs, right? I feel like this dude figured this stuff out on his own and is trying to come public with it, right? But he's doing it in his own channel. He's not doing it through Dr. Greer. He's not doing it, you know, through any of these other channels. He's just doing it as a fucking famous actor with millions of dollars. And you know, it's just interesting to me that nobody's taking him seriously. But he might have the thing. And maybe that's why they're not taking him seriously. It's like, we can't let them know. We can't let the world know about this fucking electric universe. Like, we know the resonance of everything, so we can manipulate matter. Like, we can't let the world know about this.
Why don't we get him on the show?
Like, go. I mean, dude, email him. He might.
Terrence
he might. He seems like a very what's the word you're looking? You know,
humble.
No, well, yeah, maybe
down to earth guy. Nice guy, cool guy.
I'm trying to think of the word, like just out there.
Like if you put your hand up for a high five, he'd return it.
Fuck yeah,
hell yeah, he would.
Yeah,
he would. No, what I was saying was I would rather have a conversation about this stuff with a guy like that than a scientist any day, and not to because I've had a lot of conversations with scientists, you know, people who have gone to school for this shit, and they all seem to have, you know, these roadblocks that are installed in them.
Funding.
It's not. Excuse me. By the way, I have a cold. If anybody's listening, I apologize for being rude.
Gross. We're gonna get sick through the mic.
Yeah, but they have these roadblocks installed in them that literally do not allow them to think outside the box sometimes, right? And it's literally impossible for them to look at something such as anti gravitational manipulation technology, right? In any sense of the fashion whatsoever. When you look at something such as UFOs, or UAP as they're called now, and you see that they're able to move from one domain, such as the ocean, to another domain, such as the air, and then into another domain, such as space, and then back into the air, and then back into the ocean, without slowing down at all, without decreasing speed, without creating a splash in the water, without even slowing down and taking a sharp 90-degree turn. How can that be possible without gravitational manipulation? There has to be some form of gravitational manipulation. There has to be a way to remove the matter of air particles around the ship. There has to be a way. There has to be a way to remove the forces of
from
flight.
The atoms. Yeah.
There has to be a way to remove drag, lift, weight, all of the forces. It has to not be there. And the only way you can do that is to physically remove any matter from around the craft. To do that, you have to manipulate gravity. You have to manipulate space. And in order to manipulate space, you have to be able to manipulate time. You have to do that. And if you're not willing to look at something and figure out how you can do that, then we can't have a conversation. And that's one of the more common roadblocks that I've come across is, you know, there's people that are just unwilling to talk about this stuff because it's impossible. It breaks Einstein's theory of general relativity, right?
Which is funny because in itself it's just a theory. It's not a law.
Well, this is the biggest problem that I've been ranting about for like 10 years, man, is that like I'm in that camp where I truly believe that certain like cornerstones of our civilization were like purposely manipulated, and that all of the other things built on top of those are like just slightly off, right? Things aren't quite what they seem because
What do
of
you mean?
this, right? Things like gravity, right? Like this concept, like every single person listening to this right now, when you say the universe or space or galaxy or solar system or planets or moons, if I say any of those words, every single person here has an image in their mind of this vast, space. We all know what I'm talking about because we all have a vision in our head of what this looks like. Okay. And all of that is all leaning on the idea of gravity. Gravity, because of the theories of gravity, okay, and the math that they've literally tweaked to make work. That's what dark matter is. Dark matter is just an equation that they stuck in there because shit wasn't working out. They could never figure out why they couldn't. How did the universe get created? How does all of this work? We don't know. Can't figure it out. Well, if we make up this equation and we stick it in here as a placeholder, dark matter, dark energy, it'll fix all of this stuff. And with that, they've created this image that we all have in our mind of what space is, this realm that we live in and how it all functions. And we're orbiting and spinning and expanding and it's infinite and blah, 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 blah. All of that is just based off of this fuckery. Literally, I'm not kidding. So this is what I mean when I say space is fake, right? Like, is there stuff out there? Of course, there's like things going on, right? But the way that they're measuring things, the way that they're doing math, the way that they're assuming certain things is all fudged. And I think it was fudged on purpose, but that's a whole other.
See, I disagree to a point. Could there have been purposeful fudgery? Yes. Absolutely, 100%. I don't believe that there's anything wrong with the way that they're doing it. I think that there's a lot of people out there that are truthfully, attempting to put the pieces together and that they're doing it correctly. Especially, when you think of the concept that people have to build off of other people's building blocks, like Newton, right? Newton was a cornerstone piece for a lot of the physics that we have now. When he passed away, nobody went back and restarted a lot of the stuff that he, founded, right? Maybe they went back a little bit and retested some of his concepts. But for the most part, he built a solid base for a lot of the physics. A lot of that became a new base. And then from that, people built on top of that. Now, if any of his physics was wrong, whether it be, minuscule or not, that means that anything built off of that was wrong too. And it'd be very, very hard to recorrect it because the base would be incorrect. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody building on top of that had, had negative means in mind when they were going to bat and building. It just means that they were building off of a faulty base.
That's my point. I don't think any of this is like, I don't think that, your run-of-the-mill astrophysicist or mathematician or any of these people are like out to get us or anything like that. That's crazy. No, I think that they're, like you said, they're literally building just on like a cracked foundation. Something was just slightly off, right? Like,
I would like to see, because I don't think that we should stop doing research on or building on those bases, but I would like to see a branch of science, and forgive me if there is, I'm not aware of it, but I would like to see a branch of science that specifically goes back to the basics, the complete basics, and starts from square one with all this stuff and double checks all the blocks and make sure everything's correct.
Well, and that's the kind of the thing, is that you have this status quo, right? And today in academia, you have this like this ladder that you climb, and you have this information that you memorize and regurgitate, right? And if you challenge the status quo at certain points through this progression, you don't make it any further, right? So now it's not like completely choked off. Of course, there's people doing experiments, they're learning new shit all the time, right? They're asking questions, but there's some certain questions you don't ask, right? Like if you go in there and you're like, hey man, I think that gravity might actually be an effect of another force, right? I don't think gravity is what we think it is. And then, you have hundreds of billions of dollars of institutions that are all backed by this, this idea that we've created over the last like 100 years, less than 100 years, really, but call it 100 years. I don't know. It's just, to me, there's some shit that's off, and it's not just gravity. Like there's a number of things that you could go down the list. I think things like with health, like for instance, fluoride in the water, for the longest time, they're like, yo, it's for your teeth. Well, now they're saying it's actually poison. I don't know if you guys saw that, right?
Yeah.
Now, now that everything, like I said earlier, is flipping around and like everything is shifting, like all of a sudden fluoride is bad for you in the water. So I can't wait to see what the fucking lawsuits look like for that. But like chemtrails, I just saw a thing the other day. Florida bans weather modification and chemtrails. Oops. Thought that one wasn't, and it's just like, something, a lot of things are just a little fucked from the beginning. And I think that the Rockefeller situation, their education system that they set up to create factory workers that like led us, through the world wars and that whole like industrial revolution, the liberal.
Did my card go through?
Oh no.
Your small business depends on its internet. So switch to Verizon Business. And you could get LTE business internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data for unlimited business.
There we go.
Get the internet you need at the price you want. Verizon Business. Starting price for LTE business internet, 25 megabits per second unlimited data plan with select Verizon Business smartphone plan savings. Terms apply.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A strong defense? No. A strong deodorant? Yes. A six-pack of abs? Nope. Six-pack of beer? Yes. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol 21 plus and in select cities. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Economic order, like that whole thing that lasted for 100, 150 years, like that's coming to an end. The new thing is coming now, but like we're going to get these new physics. We're going to get these new sciences. We're going to start getting AI and AI agents. We're going to start getting blockchain technology. We're going to start getting all these little things that are going to completely change the world. And it's going to happen super fucking fast, man. It's going to be awesome.
I had something. What was I going to say? Damn it.
Well, in the meantime, Whitney said, would you all be willing to accept the fact that we'll never know the truth until we get to heaven? And that would be an interesting concept, even if, like, not everyone's going to heaven, but, like, once you're dead, if you're able to have the truth revealed to you.
I believe that. I've had
I think that would go into like that whole flow state thing that you were talking about, or like the whole was it the Akashic records or whatever, tapping into
my first DMT trip was that. My first DMT trip was literally existing in the void for all of time, for all of existence. I was there from before time started, and I was there through all of time, and then it ended and I was still there, and it was the craziest experience of my entire life. But like, to me, that's what you're talking about. When you get there, when you get to Valhalla or to heaven or to whatever the place is, there is like an absolute knowing of sorts. I feel like when you have like one of those DMT trips, you don't get there, you're not quite there, but you get like a small little like smell of it, and it's like, oh shit, like that's a thing. The Akashic records, the knowing of all, like time doesn't exist. You can just kind of pick information from time, know everything type of.
That's pretty crazy. Or at least the blinders are taken off and it's
For sure.
revealed to you. So it's like, or
Well,
maybe, you know, you can see it finally.
heaven is probably like way like layers and layers beyond that, of course, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like in these altered states of consciousness, you're just getting like a little dust of it. You're just a little dust, you know, but it's enough.
I think that there's an interesting concept here. Now, you know, I'm not Christian, right? But I think that there's something to be said about the concept of a spirit. Okay. Now, the entire existence that we know of with our current physics, everything's basically made out of energy and matter, and that energy and matter is one and the same, right? It's just that you need a ton of energy to make 1 unit of matter, right?
Right.
A ton of units of energy equals 1 unit of matter. That's literally what E equals MC squared means. So basically, we also learn, I can't remember the name of the law, but it's matter can neither be created nor destroyed, right? Same concept with energy. But there's also conservation of energy and mass, right? There's a little bit on the back end of that a lot of people forget to mention. There's actually a second part to that. Matter can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change form, right?
Right.
But matter can be changed from matter to energy, and over time, massive amounts of time, energy could be changed to matter. Think of it like this. You set a log on fire, right? The mass of that log shrinks up incredibly. The mass didn't just disappear, it just became energy. You know, it created energy, and now it's out into the universe. Okay, it's still there. It's just minuscule. You can't see it. It now exists as particles, even smaller than that. It's what we consider energy. Now, consciousness would be considered an energy because everything is either matter or energy. Now, could you hold consciousness in your hand and realize that it's in your hand? Probably not. That's why I'm categorizing it as an energy. So when you pass away, what happens to it?
It doesn't cease to exist.
Right. It's still there. So it does something. Okay. And I'm a firm believer in that. And I've never really talked about this on the show before, but I do believe that consciousness does something after death. And this was one of my big pushes for when I did the near-death experience episode, was I really wanted to look into this. I wanted to see what was going on. And the near-death experience research that I did really helped me. And that's why I had like this really big reaction to this, Jake. Was because that was proof to me that people were reporting that their consciousness was leaving their bodies. Somehow, some way, consciousness, the energy of consciousness is trapped in the physical body while you're alive.
Right.
Somehow, some way, the energy of consciousness is trapped in the physical body, in the matter of your body, while you're alive. While you're dead, it seeps out. That is your soul.
Through your nose.
Through your nose, through your hair, through your ears, whatever.
Butthole.
Your eyes, maybe
Through
the
your
butthole.
Yeah.
It probably is the butthole. That's what the cap is taking out.
If you were smothered to death in your sleep, it would have to be released through your butthole.
Right.
Where else could it go, you know?
It would have to go out the butthole. And it could go out the front. Good.
Well, listen, man, we need to get David Icke on the show because David Icke has a whole like opposite idea, which I kind of like a little more. It's more interesting to me. And it's the idea that your brain is really just a receiver, and that the light is literally the information that's the receiver is taking in and creating the universe, the experience that your consciousness is having.
See, I've recently done a lot of research into consciousness. It's one of the most fascinating subjects. It's really, really intriguing. We've talked about this before. Like what is it? What is it about brain matter, right? Gray matter, as it's called.
Sure. Yeah.
That is so special. What is it? Yes, it has neurons. It has all the electrical connections and whatnot. But what is it about the brain that makes it special to where it can hold consciousness, right? And we've run the experiment before where we discussed literally taking one cell at a time and transferring cells between bodies, and when does consciousness slip between one person's body to the next. And basically what I was honestly, my thought is that it never does. I don't think it ever does. I don't think consciousness ever goes from one body to the next.
I think it could if you created an exact replica of the neural pathways in the brain.
I don't think so. I think so.
You could,
because
if it was an exact replica.
If you do it one cell at a time, I don't think it does, because you'll never ever be able to open the cage that is the brain. I think that there's something about the material that the brain is made out of that is specifically used to hold consciousness.
Yeah, you could be right, but like if they find a way in the future to like lab grow a brain with the exact biology of your brain, okay, and they're somehow able to map your neural pathways exactly and like replicate that in not one cell at a time, like slowly, but like quickly. Like if they're able to, I don't know, like 3D print your exact brain to the biology, you know what I mean? I think you could transfer the consciousness. I think you could.
See, at what point would the cellular back and forth, what about the idea that there's only, at what point do you remove that one cell and that guy dies?
I don't think he does.
And your cells are constantly dying and regenerating constantly all the time, millions and billions of cells a second, right?
Sure.
So like that's
it's actually
why
bad.
Like
it's bad when it doesn't happen. That's what cancer is.
Right. And that's why I feel like that thought experiment's a little bit fucked for me, right? Like it's hard for me to kind of wrap my mind around. That doesn't really work, right?
Well, I wonder where in your brain your consciousness is stored, because Whitney had a guy that she cared for when she was a CNA that tried to play Russian roulette and blew part of his brain out. And he was still alive. He was quadriplegic now. But like, where in the brain is the consciousness?
It's not. That's my belief. My belief is the consciousness is not stored in the brain. I believe that the consciousness is projected to the brain, right? Like I would say that, when you get into like hippies and they're like, we're all one consciousness, we're all one, right? Or like that type of thought is, the universal consciousness, call it God, call it whatever you want to call it, is projecting an experience, is projecting information via light, and light that not just that we can see, but the whole light spectrum. It's being projected out, and we are the receivers. That's the thing that is important about us, is that we were created to literally receive the information.
You talking about sort of like a hive mind kind of concept?
Not necessarily, because every receiver is slightly different. So we're all experiencing a slightly different experience. But
we're all experiencing it for one thing.
We're all experiencing it through one consciousness.
Wouldn't that then negate the idea of free will if we were all differently experiencing the same thing? Because then you could say that, oh, well, it's not that he chose to go and shoot all those people inside that church. It's just because he was receiving a different experience.
It's not that like cut and dry. Like you can't pass off your own, actions onto like this universal consciousness. It's not how it works. Like free will is still in full effect, right? Like you have a meat body that you're in full control of, right? Your subconscious mind is able to function, your motor skills and shit where, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not quite this.
But that would But what I'm getting at is like, if that was the case, then the whole thinking and understanding and reasoning process, because I'm not certain that my dog more so thinks and reasons versus he reacts. So it's not like he's, based off of instinct. I like chewing on wood. The furniture is made of wood. I'm going to chew on it. And then he reacts to a disciplinary action or a, Doug, no, right? Then there's a reaction. I'm not certain that there's a thinking and a processing. So by that logic, the thinking and the processing would all be being given to us. So someone could say, oh, well, I wasn't controlling me. Something else was controlling me.
No, I think you're conflating the mind and consciousness. Like you're mixing the two as if they're one. I personally believe that the mind and that your consciousness are two separate things, right? Like the mind is the thing that does what you're talking about, makes the decisions in real time in this reality, right? Like controls the meat body, keeps the heart beating, causes you to breathe, so on. It makes your cells regenerate. Like that's the mind doing those things. The consciousness is being projected for us to experience the thing. Your dog doesn't have like conscious awareness, right? It's not conscious in the way that you and I are. It's conscious to a certain extent. Sure, it's afraid, like these types of things, but it's all instinctual, like animal behavior. The thing that separates us is that we have the receiver capable of receiving the information of consciousness. That's my belief. And again, you can change the word. All you have to do is tweak the words, in my opinion. This is why I don't think you and I disagree on most things, right? Like,
oh no, I'm not making this face because I'm like, this guy's full
no, I know
of crap.
You're not. I'm just trying to bridge the gap, right? For anybody who might be listening to this, thinking like, oh, I don't know, but it's like, listen, you can just replace universal consciousness with the word God, right? And you can kind of make that work, in my mind at least. It's the same thing.
Definitely different.
This is a good talk, man.
I have a question.
They've been talking about this for years.
I have a question before I forget. When it comes to quantum computing, so I'm going to try to Barney this thing down for myself. I'm just a dumb knuckle dragger after all. So there's robots or types of technology where people can manufacture microchips at a nearly atomic level, stack them on top of each other in the same way you would a motherboard for a desktop PC.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But it's way, way, way small. But with a motherboard for a desktop PC, you have to have wires connecting to it. You can't just be floating in nothingness and just be like, and we're pulling information out of it. So am I to believe that not only are they stacking these, qubits on top of each other and making microprocessors that are, so small you probably couldn't even see them, or maybe if they're big enough, the size of, the head of a pencil, and also there's structure around that in order to utilize them, like wires and cables and things like that?
Ask that again.
Are you talking about for the quantum chip?
Yeah. What's the point of having a chip that small if you don't have any cables to connect it to anything or to plug it into a screen?
It's not that the chip is small. It's that the chip is computing in a totally different way.
So the main difference between a qubit and a bit is that a bit can only work in a binary fashion. It could be 1 or 0, right? So think of like gates, a gate system, right? So an AND gate it has to be 2 1s and then the signal can go through, right? An OR gate is a 1 or 0 and then it can go through. In a qubit, the qubit sits in a state of what's called superposition, meaning that it sits in every possible position at all times, meaning that it sits as a 1, a 0, neither 1 or 0, and a 1 or 0 at all times until it's needed. Once it's being used, it's decided what it is, and it could do this incredibly fast. Basically, superposition in a nutshell, when you take the definition away from qubit, is the Schrodinger's cat, right? Remember Schrodinger's cat? The cat's both dead and alive at the same time until it's observed.
Yep.
That's the same thing with a qubit. Okay, a qubit lives, or it is in a state of superposition until it is used, until it is observed.
The thing that made me understand kind of what this is literally the quote from the head of CERN back in like 2014 or 2015 when they got their hands on the first quantum computers, right? And the guy comes out and says, we're literally using these quantum computers to peer into alternate dimensions and bring back data.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so what they're doing is that in this computer, they're able to, and computer is not even the right word. It's just the only word we have.
Correct.
But in this computer, okay,
Because it's not computing. It's not.
It's not computing. It's essentially going through like every possible variable of everything. It's like creating world simulations, if you will, and doing every variable that you can give it all at the same time to give you every possible answer. And then it sifts through, it's like some weird, it's reaching into alternate universes, parallel universes, and it's bringing back data. That's the quote from the head of CERN, right? Like that's what this thing is doing. It's not just calculating with numbers to give you an equation and an answer. No, it's reaching out into parallel universes and finding the answer that you're looking for and bringing it back to you.
Well, what if the parallel universes don't exist and this thing is just creating the idea of a parallel universe because it could exist? So once again, people are going, say, the Isaac Newton thing. They're going to go based off this building block of, okay, the quantum or the parallel universes exist. Thus, we're going to build experiments off of that and math and geometry off of that. But in reality, it could have not exist at all. But this quantum computer is just saying like, well, for the possibility that it does, this would be the scenario for that. So once again,
the only way that the Willow chip was able to do what it did was to be able to borrow computing.
AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
New Year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. So now get 2 snack wraps, plus fries, and a medium soft drink for just $8.
For limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
Power, right? Because that's the only word that we can use to do so. It only has a certain amount of qubits within its chip, okay? The only way it could do what it did in the amount of time that it did, because it performed a task that would normally take longer, more time than what currently exists in the universe now.
Yeah, I saw it. From like 70 trillion years or something.
Yeah, so then from the beginning of the Big Bang to this point right now, it did it in under 15 minutes. Okay? The only way it could do that is if it reached in and borrowed infinite power from some other source that it does not have itself. It does not have it. So basically, right, the way computers work, right, the way that you add speed to computers is by adding more bits. Okay,
Right.
That's how it works. 24-bit, 48-bit, it all works on additions of nice clean numbers, right? Nintendo 64 worked off 64 bits, right?
Sure.
So that's because in order for everything to move nice and smoothly, those bits need to flip on and off. Boom, 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 boom. And it happens so fast that when I'm watching you on this screen, those little switches are flipping so fast that it looks like I'm just watching you in real life. That's what it looks like. And these are just on and off switches. These are ones and zeros. This is binary work. This right here, our technology with binary work has us talking to each other to where it looks like
we're looking through a window.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
But qubits can literally work in a state of superposition, meaning
infinite,
meaning that they not only can be a 1 or a 0, they could be a 1 and a 0. They could be a 1 and a 1. They could be a 0 and a 0. They could be neither. They could be off. They could be on. They can't exist. They can't exist. They could be whatever the fuck they want to be. They can go into now. This is the best theory that Google has. Okay, the best theory that Google has is that they can borrow the computing power. Again, computing is the only term that we have for it.
Sure.
The computing power of other qubits from other universes to complete the task at hand.
Here's what they did. This is why they have the statue of the destroyer and the statue of the creator, Shiva, in front of CERN. It's both. It's a dual, it's a duality thing, okay? Just like Jeremy's saying, they're borrowing the computing power from other universes. And the amount of energy that they're literally siphoning from other dimensions or other universes in order to make these computations is, like he said, greater than all of the time and energy that exists in this universe. So what they're doing effectively, in my opinion, is that they're collapsing universes in order to steer this one. Okay. When Jeremy said earlier, like the whole time travel thing, like when you go back, it creates like an alternate parallel universe, right? That you now exist on in this new timeline where everything could essentially be the same. It's a mirrored universe, right? Except for that thing that changed, whatever, right? So you would have no idea. Maybe that's why we have deja vu and these weird fucking experiences in our minds. But that's not the point. The point is, I think that what they're doing is that they're utilizing this quantum technology to collapse universes, parallel universes, or wave state possibilities into the possibilities that they want. They're steering this universe through the multiverse or through time to do the things, right? And I've always said that I think that the fucking lizard people are purposely creating prophecies and then making them happen over time as like a form of control. Right now we can go deep on that, but I think that this is part of that. I think that they're literally just steering the universe through.
I definitely want to see what this looks like on, like, I hope I live long enough or the world exists for long enough, despite what NASA says about asteroids every so often. But I hope that I live long enough to be able to see what this looks like in practicality, because I was reading a little bit on the Willow chip. Google saying something along the lines of, it'll help quicken industries like the steel industry. I'm like, all right, well, steel still melts at a certain temperature, and it still takes so long to melt so much steel to create steel bars. And like, how would that possibly work in a computing sense? But I mean, I'm not
what it'll do is it'll
right?
probably it'll peer out and it'll figure out information on how we can use the same elements that we make steel, right? And it'll tell us like, hey, here's how you can actually make it a trillion times stronger. Yeah, here instead of making like
so that jet fuel won't melt it. Yeah,
right. Instead of making like steel sheets or steel beams or steel whatever, steel cables, why don't you make like a super tiny microscopic size, like nano size steel threading and braid it in a specific geometric pattern, and you'll have indestructible fucking steel. Like that's the type of information you're going to get like as soon as you turn the fucking machine on, like the moment you turn the machine on. And the crazier thing about that is it'll probably give you that information before you even ask it to give you that information, because again, it's doing these like universal size computations. It's just going to know.
So it's like basically it'll know that in the grand scheme of things, someone's probably going to ask it this information or ask it this question once, so it's going to have the answer already programmed.
Yeah.
Gross. Okay, so I'm glad that you guys know stuff, because it's like, I'm sitting here thinking about like when I hear the terms quantum, I'm thinking incredibly small. So it's like, literally when I think of a quantum chip, I'm like, okay, so what? It's like a microchip that's the size of a grain of rice. What's the good of that? Unless you stack it and stack it and stack it until it becomes the size of like the motherboard of my PC, and then you plug it into something, and now it has a quintillion amount of the computing power that my, motherboard has, or whatever, whatever.
The problem is like in this, I'll just kind of one last time just bring up this Terrence Howard guy, because like one of the things he talks about is like with this geometry that he's bringing up and stuff. It's like think about the computer chips like Jeremy was talking about, or whichever one you guys were talking about. You go down and down and down, and you have these super tiny like computer chips. But if you notice, they're always in geometric patterns that are like square or rectangle, right? They're always sharp right angle inside these chips, and when you get down to it, the energy, this is why the chips get hot, by the way. When the energy has to go up and make a right angle and go down and make a right angle and do all these right angles, every time it hits a wall, it's creating more friction and more heat. And that's why they have to put these
octagon.
chips.
It could just,
Well, or a spiral of some kind, right? So like using the proper geometry, they can like change how all of these chips work. Right now, we're still using right angle geometry. We're still using linear measurements. We're still using like all of these like I'm going to say like archaic methods of doing science. And like we're still building crazy cool shit with that. It's awesome. But when you get down to like this quantum level, and you get down to like this, what the universe is made of and how it's functioning, everything is fluid and spherical and, all these things. If you're not using geometry and math in the same kind of way, like you're not going to be able to build the real cool stuff, the gravity manipulation devices, the UAP or the time travel stuff, right? Like
I don't know, because
stuff,
once they start using hexagons and octagons, then we're just going to get right back into why the cathedrals were built like that, with the stained glass window and the sound resonance.
There's connections
vibrate
there.
the earth into non-existence.
There's connections there, and he talks about how the universe. So like there's another scientist in the room, and he asks him, he's like, "What do you think, the universe is finite or infinite?" So I'm going to do the same thing with you guys. Like, do you think it's finite or infinite?
It's finite.
It's finite. You think that there's a barrier? You don't think it's just an infinite universe?
Yes, it's finite.
I think it's infinite.
You think it's infinite universe?
So
I think that what we look out to and we see as black space is finite.
Finite. I believe it's finite too.
What about it's not the law of thermodynamics. The expanding universe. It can't just it can't just expand to a point where it hits an invisible wall and then everything just smashes up against it.
The wall itself is expanding, perhaps, if there's expansion, but we don't know that it's expanding because, again, the math might be fudged from the foundation, right? So
I think
it's all assumptions.
I think we can. I think that's one of the solid ones. I think it's. I've looked at it. I'm not saying that I'm not. I don't have a master's degree or a PhD.
It could be. I'm not going to die on that hill either. I don't know. I'm doing research on that.
I think we need a shirt that says
like we don't know.
Science is wrong because Isaac Newton was wrong. something along the lines of that.
I don't even think it's that Newton was wrong. I just think that some of the stuff that was built upon Newton's discoveries was wrong, right? And it could be so small. I mean, like, you know, if you're not in some of these equations, bro, if you're not adding enough decimal points, you're not getting the answer, right? And some of these decimal points are like 10 to the 36 power, right? It's like 36 zeros and then a one. And they're doing equations with these types of numbers. So it's like, you know, there's no reason to think that this isn't even that crazy of a thought, right? Like, and a lot of these equations were come up with like a couple hundred years ago. So it's not too crazy to think that, hey, maybe a few hundred years ago, they might have fucked up on a 37 decimal point equation. Like maybe they fucked up something, right? Maybe we should go back and really think about this.
What would they even look like in Roman numerals?
I don't know, but like the reason I was asking about the finite universe thing is that, you know, like there's wave conjugations, like the energy that ripples through the universe, it creates geometric patterns. And the only way that that can happen is if it's bouncing, if the energy wave is going out and then bouncing off of something and coming back, and those waves are intersecting, just like a puddle ripple in the pond. When those ripples hit the wall and come back in and they cross the other ripples, that's where you get like your geometric patterns, right? And that's the thing that's creating matter and creating the universe. So there has to be a barrier that the energy, the information projection that I'm telling you that our consciousnesses are perceiving is bouncing off the outside of this universe and creating the geometry that we're able to like experience this three-dimensional world. This is some super fucking woo shit. I don't know how we got
my mind right now with how woo this is.
Yeah.
But I have no basis to say that it's finite or infinite. It's just what I think. So I don't know.
I don't know. I put the video in the chat. There's multiple videos of this guy. I'm just gonna say, go watch it.
Yeah, I'll
shout that guy out this whole hour. Yeah.
When was he on Rogan? Was it recent?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago, and I don't even know if that's the best episode to watch. But just look his name up, and then he'll start showing up in your algorithms, and you'll start getting more shit. You know how it is.
Yeah.
I'll watch some Terrence Howard tomorrow in the gym. I'll check it out. I just want to tie up some loose ends here real quick. One, I think that when we were talking about people with we were talking about scientists and how I was explaining how, you know, I'd rather talk to somebody who's just naturally smart and can critically think on their own and can look at the world and dissect things and can look at a book of information and not necessarily just take that information for face value, but look at it and say, hey, this doesn't make sense, or hey, this does make sense.
That's why I'm on the show.
But let's verify.
I like to look at that and think of the idea of conspiracy theorists in general, because I think that conspiracy theorists play a critical role in the community, and I think some of them play a very negative role, but some of them play a very, very positive role. Some of them are very, very good, and I think that they play a role of what should be referred to as auditors for reality, because nobody's doing that. Nobody's auditing reality. And I think that's a term that should be normalized for some people. Reality needs to be audited.
That's a good shirt idea, bro. Audit reality.
Yeah.
I'll write it down.
Write that down. Send me one. Send me the prototype.
Nobody steal that in the chat. That's already trademarked by Infinite Rabbit Hole. We're going to add that today. But
audit reality, bro. Boom. That's fucking heavy.
But I think that, you know,
bro.
But the thing is like, you know, that's what we need to do. We need people to go back and audit the science, right? Who's auditing the science? Who's going back and taking the time to dissect it
Archaeology,
down to
biology,
who's going
the
back,
math,
right?
yeah.
You get like I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people and they're like, you know, I'll ask them the basic question, right? Hey, is the Earth flat? Right? I have my personal opinions about it. Do I know for sure? No, I don't. I've never been to space and looked at the Earth. 99% of the people I talk to will say, oh, the Earth's circular. And it's like, okay, cool. How do you know that? Well, I've seen a picture of it in a textbook when I was a kid. Okay, I get that. Yeah. And, okay, well, tell me more. And then they'll be like, oh, well, you know, the astronauts, you know, they went to the moon and then they turned around and they saw the Earth and they said it was round too. And I was like, okay, yeah. I think we need to audit the whole idea about them going to the moon. I think we need to audit the whole idea of them taking a camera and taking a picture of the Earth. I think we need to audit this stuff because people are using this as their base, right? And that's the kind of things that we need to audit. That sometimes conspiracy theorists get some things right? Like the idea of like we're learning a lot of shit about the JFK assassination right now, right? That these conspiracy theorists had right. There's some really fucking fishy shit about it. Like Oswald was pictured right next to the fucking car, right? He didn't fucking pull the trigger. We know that now. That's 100% fact. Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill JFK. 100% did not happen. Because he was literally photographed right next to the fucking car minutes before the incident.
Also, that there was a second shooter because of the guy was so far away shooting that the bullet didn't even like lodge in JFK's body. It like bounced off of him. Essentially, it was found in the car.
So you got to be careful. You know, I'll stand up for the conspiracy theorists out there. Sometimes they're just asking the questions. Sometimes they're just auditing reality. And you got to understand that they're just doing a job that they're not getting paid for. And sometimes you're just going to be the wrong one. So now that is out there, move on to the next bit. Jake, just to tie up loose ends with quantum, right? The definition of quantum. Quantum does, in a nutshell, mean small, right? But to kind of expand upon that, quantum refers mostly to the physics at the very, 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 very small level. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that the chip itself is small. It's talking about the processes that it uses. The processes that it uses runs at the quantum level. The level below microscopic, below minuscule, where physics literally changes. The smaller you get, the law of physics changes. The smaller you get, the less we understand about it. So think of the concept of splitting an atom, right? When we split an atom, there's a massive explosion with it.
Yeah.
Hence, atom bombs, right? We shove a bunch of atoms in there. We create a diffusion, and we get a massive atomic explosion.
Right, a giant release of energy.
But it comes from something minuscule. Now, if we take a giant rock and we split it in half, we don't get a massive explosion from that, right? Physics works different the smaller you get. And at the quantum level, it just completely fucks everything sideways. And we don't understand it. We don't, but we're learning it. Okay? Now, I'll tell you, I'm not going to get into it too deep because I'm saving this for content for my new show, Decoding Reality, coming July 1st, 2025. There was almost a technology created where they were almost able to take the concept of information sharing to the next level, and instead of just sharing video, pictures,
smell-o-vision,
type letters, no, they were almost on the verge of being able to send physical objects to other portions of the planet.
And what happened?
Instantaneously.
They've already teleported particles.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't do anything bigger than that. What happened was, when they did it, they put a tracking system with it. They use entangled particles to track. Now, entangled particles is something that we discovered at the quantum level. Entangled particles are particles that were created together, and when you apply some sort of pressure or some sort of action onto an entangled particle, the other particle reacts. It doesn't matter what the distance is. It could be literally from the other side of the universe. It could be from the other side of the planet. If I take this entangled particle and I move it, the other particle will react. If I give this particle information, the other particle will then expel that information. We can manipulate these entangled particles in certain ways, and we're discovering a lot of different ways that we can manipulate these entangled
quantum
particles.
communication. This is how we're going to communicate to off-planet bases that are 10 light years away without waiting 10 light years for a response.
Exactly, and that's a lot of that's the way that we're moving right now. So they figured out a way that they can do quantum entanglement tracking systems. So they take entangled particles and they attach it to a physical object, something small first, right? Something like a needle or a twig or whatever. And they put it into the system and they tried to ship it across the planet. The entangled particles said that the object was where they sent it, but it wasn't. It said it was, but it wasn't. It just disappeared. It's gone. Their best theory is that because they sent the particle or the object, anything bigger than a particle, because they sent it, they believe that when they sent it, it created a new universe, and that it appeared in a new universe. And now we're going full circle back to the multi-world theory that we discussed earlier. So they believe
Go ahead.
They believe that the actual physical movement of physical objects, anything bigger than a particle, may be physically impossible to do without creating a without creating another world. So if we tried to beam Scotty up to whatever, up to Star Wars land, I'm gonna get so much hate for that. We would beam him up to a new universe or a new world completely outside of this world, and he would no longer exist in it. The theory would be that Scotty would go to a world where people would exist, right? He would go to a world where he would achieve his goal. He would go to that ship, but he would not be there in our world. Now we know that quantum tracking works. We can detect the particles arriving physically in other portions of the world. So we can send it, like Jeff had said. We did physically teleport particles to other portions of the planet. We have done that. We can do that within our own world.
So teleportation is going to be that. What it's going to be is going to be them breaking you down particle by particle and sending one particle at a time, essentially, and reconstructing you on the other end. And this is why I think that, like, when I said earlier that your consciousness will be shifted or could be shifted into your another brain if the brain was like an exact replica, right, to the particle, right, neural pathways, biology, the whole diet. Okay, so once they figure this technology out, because if they can send one particle, you don't think that they're going to be sitting there figuring out, okay, how do we send a frog? Okay, that's 10 quadrillion particles. How do we send that? All right, and then reconstruct it so that it's still a frog. They're doing that right now, today. That's somebody was working on that today, and they get paid a lot to do it. So, like, they're going to figure this shit out probably.
I'm going to be honest with you. I still don't think you're correct. I think that what you would get in the end would be a copy. I don't think that you would get the original.
Who cares?
Well, I care.
You wouldn't know.
I still care.
You wouldn't know. Nobody would know. You might be right. It might be a copy, but nobody would know, including the copy. Because your consciousness would shift into the copy just the same. So it doesn't matter if it's a copy. Like, you're still going to exist in the same meat body, or not really.
So let's just take that same concept, right? But instead of moving one particle at a time, it copies one particle at a time. It creates a second brain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now you have a perfect copy. Now you do know. Right? There's two of you. You're looking at yourself.
I don't think that your consciousness would move like that.
No, I don't think so either.
Because your consciousness is an energy and not a physical particle. So
Correct.
so you would end up with a person that somehow doesn't have a consciousness.
It's a wave
maybe
function.
Runs off basic instinct.
It's a wave function of possibilities that
it's what we call a paradox.
It's a wave function of possibilities. That's what your consciousness is, just like everything else. And if there's a receiver specifically built to hold that wavelength into your meat body as a consciousness, if you have another one, it's the same, right? And again, like, now if you're talking about just copying it without destroying this one, just like creating, well, you can't really do that. Because you know, we've already talked about the law of energy conservation. Like, you can't just create new fucking matter and energy out of nothingness. So you have to replace it, right? You'd have to, like, get rid of something and create the new.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty sure if you create the exact same brain at the same time that you're deteriorating the other one, your consciousness will just shift into the other receiver seamlessly. Probably have no fucking idea that anything even happened. There's nowhere else for the consciousness to go except for Valhalla. And that's probably a little bit harder of a transition than another receiver that's exactly like the one that it's already in.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know either.
The overall, I think that our consciousness our consciousness, just to get back on that, is a quantum mechanic. Okay. I think that we are quantum beings. I think that energy is a quantum concept. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to expand past that, because now we're going to get into things that, you know, will potentially make people uncomfortable, and I don't want to do that.
Leave us on a cliffhanger.
No, we're going to start getting into belief systems and stuff, and I don't want to do that. But don't call me a pussy. I'm being thoughtful, okay? But my personal beliefs, okay, is that that consciousness is an energy. Energy is part of the quantum realm. When we die, our energy is released, our consciousness is released. Where it goes from there, I don't know. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, some people will say that's heaven. Okay? I'm not going to say you're wrong. Now, we may disagree with the way we get there, right? We may disagree on what we call it, but overall, what it is, and
it's the big energy vacuum that sucks your energy into the next realm.
it's
I mean, the alternative is that you just, your energy is just floating out in the ether until some quantum computer sucks it out of the air and uses it to create a math problem, and then you cease to exist.
I think that there's an answer for a lot of things here, including the concept of spirits. Although that's a little iffy.
As long as you don't get into the place where you're going to start seeing floating specks of dust and saying that they're spirit orbs.
No.
Just don't get into that.
Don't worry,
that
man.
crapshoot.
Humans are infinite beings. We don't die. We're immortal. We're just in a simulation experiencing mortality right now. And when this meat body dies, you'll wake up in your immortal body and you'll live forever. Some people call that heaven.
Well, you'll live forever. The only problem is where.
Now,
right.
I used to be a big component of the simulation theory, but I am no longer. I don't necessarily believe in the simulation theory. I think that the simulation theory is just a way that people can explain it, and we don't have the terminology or the proper way to explain what the next step is. And I think that, people explain it by using words like heaven. I don't have a word for it. I don't know what it is.
The next place.
Yeah, pick one, man. I mean, for me personally, I'm kind of in the same boat. I definitely believe a lot of these things are real, right? Like I believe in like the spiritual warfare thing that's happening and like the afterlife and consciousness and all. But to me there's just like a barrier. Part of it has to do with knowing that all of the cultures through history kind of had the same idea, a lot of ideas, right? And again, kind of like what you said, they all thought there's something that's after. How we get there and that kind of thing is different. What they called it was different. Who they called it was different. But there's definitely something there.
Actually, it wasn't so widely spread to have a atheistic idea of everything until we created the atomic bomb. And that's when people kind of decided that we have so much science that, God's dead, we are God, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff, or there is no God. Until that point happened, is literally like it can be measured on like church attendance and just religious whatever, attendance worldwide. Like it didn't decline until the atomic bomb was created. It's actually pretty interesting.
There is something to like higher purpose and higher being and that kind of thing, and it's like a comfort, right? Like faith is comfort.
Thanks,
in a way.
Dang, Kenzer was on that quick.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, right.
We got kid.
There is something like liberating about like faith in something higher than you, right?
Sure.
Which is what's super powerful about any religion or group or anything like that. So I would just suggest for anybody to just find something, right? Like I'm not going to try to sell you any particular thing, right? But find something to where you have an idea or a concept in the back of your mind of like what the after looks like and how to get there and why, right? Like, pick one. Fucking pick one. Don't be a fence sitter.
Don't be a fence sitter.
Nobody likes a fence sitter.
Yeah, fence sitters are always just sitting there on the fence, one leg on each side, being like,
But for some people, like, I don't know, like atheism is just depressing as fuck, man. Like, to have an idea that like all of this just shuts out and it goes away is like super depressing, and it's not good. It's not good for society. Having any belief of an afterlife is better than that, in my opinion. Even if it's fucking, whatever crazy one you can think of, it doesn't matter. It's still better. For me personally, Valhalla sounds fucking cool, right? That sounds fucking dope, dude. I want to go chill with the gods and feast and drink fucking beers with Thor and shit, like
war with each other every night.
Yeah, pick one. Pick one. Where do you want the virgins? Maybe you're a virgins guy. Maybe you want the 72 virgins. That's
I don't know. You're gonna have to do some hairy stuff in this simulation for that.
Whatever it is, just pick one.
That's crazy.
Reincarnation. That's a good one. David Icke's got an interesting take on that.
I don't want to spend it when I'm dead. I'll be happy to spend forever in heaven with the Lord. And there's no part of me that wants to experience this crap again. I do not want to be reincarnated. There's no chance that sounds appealing to me. Even if it's, even if I came back wealthy, it's like, dude, you ever like just slammed your shin on a freaking trailer hitch? I never want to experience that again. No. Send me off to the next thing.
I have a slightly different thought on reincarnation personally. I kind of had this theory for a while that when you die, the instant that your consciousness leaves your body, it instantly shifts into a parallel universe of your same consciousness, and you just continue on as if like a seamless transition, right? So
we've talked about this. This is the infinite life theory or something.
Ugh. Gross.
Yeah, like you're the main character of your own reality, right?
And you only die a natural old age death.
Or maybe not. Maybe you live forever. Maybe you are an immortal being, and through your experience in this life, your consciousness will ride the wave through immortality. The transitions through technology, the whole 9 fucking yards. It sounds wild and crazy, but it's like, I don't know, like there's people out there that really walk around and think this, like that they're the main character of all of existence. And it's like, hey man, that's better than nothing, bro. It's better than being fucking just out here like,
I don't know,
just waiting to fucking die. That's NPC shit, dude.
Because that sounds like, if someone cuts you off in traffic, why not just shoot them in the face? Because they don't matter anyway. Because you're the only one that matters.
People do, man. That's fucking wild thing, bro.
Process. I mean, I guess it's better than the alternative of just that's it. Once you're dead, you're worm food, and nothing matters, and nothing ever is going to matter. Nothing has mattered. But I mean, I guess it's better than that, but it's still, dehumanizing everyone around you still doesn't sound like a good thing. You're just NPCs. You don't matter.
The point of that is like, it's just like it's a slightly different take of like reincarnation. You're not like reincarnating in this realm or in this plane. You're just like, your consciousness is just like reincarnating into, another version of you.
I've done horrible things to NPCs on Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah, dude. Fuck yeah, man.
It's like, oh, I'm trying to take a picture of the Grand Canyon and this family's in front of me. I'll just knock them off the side with my truck so I can clear the shot because they're just NPCs.
Yep.
Ooh.
It's messed up.
Dark. It was a good episode for not having anything to talk about. See?
Yeah.
Always have stuff to talk about.
This is how they're going to be from now on. Just
That's right.
Talking about random stupid stuff.
Until we get cool people on to talk
this
about
isn't
their
stupid stuff. This is deep philosophical banter. Okay, like we're going back and forth about the questions of the universe and
42
and human origin and the afterlife. This is stuff that humanity has always pondered about and always will ponder about. This is not stupid stuff. This is the most important shit that we could ever talk about, in my opinion.
Maybe I'll talk about it. My theories on the next episode. I'll talk to Jake and Jeff about it first, just to give them a briefing on it before I bring it to everybody's
Heck
attention.
no, man. Throw it out there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like not right now. We'll save it for next episode.
Well, yeah, but
Holy
I mean, like
shit.
on the episode, just throw it
Not
out
that
there.
serious, bro.
Yeah,
It is, man. Because the last thing I want to do is
I'm
piss
just
off
gonna say,
anybody.
that's it. I'm out. Flip my computer. Throw your Mothman through the window.
Not my Mothman.
Yeah, I'm doing the Mothman.
Well, maybe I'll wait until the Mothman's here.
The missing leg.
You're gonna tell me
Mothman.
some like life-shattering information. I mean, it's deep philosophical thinking, man. It's pondering the afterlife. Like this is stuff that
Look, I will let you borrow. I'll let you borrow the Sam Squanch.
The thinking man, Sam Squanch.
You can look at this while you're pondering the.
Do you know how long he's been in my Amazon cart?
How long?
Or my Amazon wish list? Probably fucking 8 years.
This is you.
He's been in my Amazon. Actually, it's been way longer than 8 years. He's been in my Amazon wish list since before I joined the Navy.
Well, I'll put this behind you on your shelf. I'll sneak into your house and I'll set it down there, and then you'll be like, someone to ponder life's mysteries with. Kind of looks like you.
I appreciate it, Skeeter, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I want a nice like cement one. Is that like a plaster one? Like a nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get that off Amazon?
Oh, probably. It's made in China.
So it's high quality. Yes.
I mean, it feels like
crack it open, dude. It's probably got fentanyl inside of it.
Don't do that. I love that thing.
We're gonna see if we're gonna get the fentanyl goodies out of the pinata.
The goodies.
Sniff all the dust.
But yeah. We'll I guess we'll continue this next time. But
Okay.
yeah, no, it was a good conversation. Hopefully I can get rid of this cough. Still fighting that chest issue from months ago.
I've had a continuous cop. Oops. I've had a continuous cock for like 3
What's
months.
that? You had a lot of cock, you
The
said?
continuous cock. It just continues.
Come on, man, don't do that to me.
Oops.
Please.
What do they call it? A Freudian slip.
Oh yeah.
Got all this cock over here.
Oh,
The only thing that's slipping.
I just had to mute my mic so I could have a
Just
coughing
happened
fit.
over there.
Yeah. And you know what's even crazier is like the pneumonia that I had.
Mhm.
The pneumonia I had seriously started like a few weeks after that stupid fog. Someone brought that to my attention.
Yeah.
Listen, man. We can get into that, but that'll take a whole nother hour, bro.
I guess
Okay.
we'll talk about it next week when I'm still hacking up a lung.
Remember what I said in my rant earlier? That Florida just passed that shit
Yeah.
about no more weather modification and chemtrails in Florida, okay?
Yeah, 'cause somebody was like, "Fuck, man, I can't get rid of this stupid cough because that stupid fog came through the entire fucking world, and now nobody can breathe."
I think that this will be my final thoughts just because you brought this up and it's something I've been thinking about the last few
Did
days.
you see
is
that people had that shit tested?
the fog's
Yeah.
residue? No, I didn't see that.
We'll talk about that
But I
next
believe
week.
it. Send that to me. But I think
gonna write that shit down.
this is coming to an end, man. I think all of that shit's coming into an end. I think they did one big massive final push here in the last couple of years, trying to do as much as they could because they knew that the gig was up, and now all of that's going to come to an end. Hopefully, I'm white pilled today. Anyways, I gotta go to bed. It's past my bedtime, and I want to eat an English muffin before I go to bed.
I looked up
Fucking-
the fog and it said, and it wanted to finish it, that makes you sick. So I clicked it and it's all about the fog making people sick
Yeah.
from December of 2024.
Yeah, I caught it in January. Or I
Bro,
got my pneumonia in January.
We probably all got VMAT 2 fucking altered from the fog, dude.
Yep, this is January 8th, 2025. What is this mysterious fog making people sick? Is it a possible chemical exposure?
Yep.
From partial safety.
If people collected it and they found like aluminum
Sulfur
and
dioxide.
Yep. And it was found all over the fucking world. It was here, really heavily here, Jake.
Yep.
I'm telling you, bro, they hit us with the
Affected
giant
states like Texas, Wisconsin, and Virginia, but it went from Florida all the way through Florida to Minnesota.
It was in
definitely
it was in more it was in more states than it wasn't.
Definitely geoengineering, man. Definitely an event. Now, whether it was like, accidental spillage or overflow or unintended consequences of some cloud seeding that they were trying to do or whatever, or maybe it was an intentional, spraying of something, or I don't know. But
we'll have to get into this because they're talking now about comparisons with historical events like U.S. Navy's 1950 Operation Sea Spray, a secret biological warfare experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll get into this next time. All right, I gotta go to bed, guys.
Oh, I'm gonna write that down too. Sea spray.
Yeah,
sea spray. They sprayed San Francisco with biological agents just to see what the fuck would happen.
They said it caused respiratory issues, irritation, fatigue, and fever-like symptoms.
That's not really a chemtrail. That's a biotrail. That's a whole other fucking thing that we don't even talk
and
about.
Then they're promoting this respirator. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's a little late now. I'm fucked.
Why the NB100 gas mask is essential for 2025.
Hell yeah, dude. Is that InfoWars?
I hope that those that stood by and listened to this non-planned, non-prepped for episode enjoyed it.
Yeah. I did.
I
Me too.
Took some notes, so we'll continue this conversation on the next episode. Skeeter, I just want to let you guys know that our Skeeter, I want to let you know, not that you're multiple guys, you're just one guy. We got in touch with your peoples from Racine, and I had to cancel when I was supposed to be back from the Dominican, and I've been trying to get back in touch with them. I was trying to get them back on for tonight, but they left me on red twice. So I tried. I don't know what else to do. I mean, I'll reach out one more time, I guess.
Because you trimmed the beard. If you didn't trim the beard, they would have got back to you ASAP.
But yeah, so I got stuck in the Dominican. For those that don't know, that's why I wasn't on the episode on Sunday. Or no, we canceled it, didn't we?
He got kidnapped by the cartel. They held him hostage. We had to send them a bunch of Infinite Rabbit Hole merch, and then they released them.
Yeah. They're like, sign this.
So what happens when you go off the resort? They take you hostage, and we have to send them merch.
They're like, sign this.
Gringo!
And they gave me a tattoo gun. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? And he showed me his butthole. And I was like, all right. I guess.
Gotta do it.
Gotta do it.
Infinite Rabbit Hole tattoo on the butthole. The age-old thing of the tattoo on the butthole scheme.
I remember my first tattoo on the butthole.
All right.
Wrap it up, dude. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Trying to build. Somebody else do it, please.
All right. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Can't wait to see you next time. The next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. If you're looking for more of our stuff, head on over to infiniterabbithole.com, where you can find links to all the podcast players that we are available on, and even our video platforms such as TikTok and YouTube. While you're there, make sure to check out all the links for our socials and hit that follow so you know when all the new stuff from our podcast comes out. And until next time, travelers, we'll see you right here in the next fork in the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye.
Carvana's so easy, just a click, and we've got ourselves a car. See?
So many cars. That's a click-tastic inventory.
And check out the financing options. Payments to fit our budget. I mean, that's...
Clickonomics 101.
Delivery to our door?
Just a hop, skip, and a click away.
And bought.
No better feeling than when everything just clicks. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.